After 371 videos of saying that at the very beginning, I'm finally out in Copenhagen. I thought it would be a good idea to let people see the city that I now live in, and I've been living here for 10 years now. So the reason that I started here is because I actually did a custom diamond painting of this image. I took a picture quite a few years ago, and I got it converted into a diamond painting, so I have it as a custom. So I thought I would start here, and this place is called Nyhavn. You can see it on that yellow building, Nyhavn. It means new harbour in English. So this is a relatively new harbour, and it's very windy, so you're probably getting a bit of wind noise as well, but this harbour was actually dug out by Swedish prisoners of war. So it is a new harbour, relatively, and it takes us out to the main canal. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a walk and let you see some sights of Copenhagen, just briefly. I'm not going to spend too long at every one, just to give people an idea of what you might see if you visit Denmark and you come to Copenhagen. So Nyhavn itself, nowadays it is very popular. There are a lot of restaurants and cafes. You can see all the awnings out the front, and it is still early. It's only about 8:25 AM on a Sunday morning, so nobody is out and about yet, but later on today this will be a very, very busy place. The canal trips start here, so you can get a canal boat from here, and it will take you around the canal. They'll talk about the architecture, the history, and all that sort of stuff. They're a really nice thing to do. Just sit in the boat, somebody tells you about the city, you see Copenhagen from the canals, a different perspective, learn a little bit about the different parts of the city. I have been on the canal trips, I think now 8 times now. I have live streamed in the past, but not on YouTube. So that's something that I might do in the future. I'm really doing this because a few people have sort of said they would like to see Copenhagen, and I thought, okay, it's sunny, a bit windy, but a nice morning to go for a walk. So I thought I'll start at Nyhavn and I'll take a walk down to the Little Mermaid statue. Very, very popular tourist attraction. There's quite a few things to see on the way down. So this is Nyhavn. If you come to Copenhagen, you will come here. Everybody comes here. It's probably the most photographed place in Copenhagen because of these buildings. They are listed. People aren't allowed to change the colours. They've got to keep them at least on the outside as they were when they were built, basically. Nyhavn, as I said, it's a very trendy place to come now for lunch and dinner. Hasn't always been the case. Back in the day, this was a very, very rough area. The only people that came here were sailors. After months on sail ships, they came to Copenhagen to unload their goods, and the sailors came here. Plenty of pubs, plenty of prostitutes, and plenty of tattoos. So people that lived in Copenhagen basically avoided this area because it was so rough. There were always fights and things going on. But eventually that all changed, and they tidied the place up, and now it's just really a tourist attraction, and it's where you get the canal boats. So we'll take a walk along. Hans Christian Andersen, famous Danish author, used to live in Nyhavn. He lived at different addresses over the years, but there are 2 places in Nyhavn that he used to live. and one of them is now a Hans Christian Andersen shop, so you can buy Hans Christian Andersen souvenirs. And another thing here is we have the narrowest apartment in Copenhagen, but it's not on that side of the canal, it's on this side. So this narrow building that these people are standing in front of is actually an apartment, and they call it the pencil building because of that shape of the roof. It's like the tip of a pencil, and it's so narrow. So the guy who designed it actually lives in it. The architect who designed it lives in this building. I can only imagine it actually opens up at the back, because I can't see how anybody could live in an apartment so narrow, but it is the narrowest apartment in Copenhagen. You may see, hi Nikki, thanks for dropping in, live in Copenhagen. You may see a few cyclists. We have roughly 3 million bicycles in Copenhagen. It's pretty impressive. This is a very quiet area, so we'll see a few. But if people enjoy the videos, I will do more videos and show different parts of Copenhagen. You can see at this time of the morning, it's not the best time to come to Nyhavn to take pictures because the sunlight is not shining on the front of the buildings. You can see on the side there just how bright that yellow is. Once the sun comes round a bit further, all of the colours will really stand out. So it's better to come here maybe about midday if you want to take pictures and get the buildings looking their best. Obviously a sunny day it would be good. No problem with that today. Just it's a bit breezy. It tends to be like that beside the canal because the canal goes out to the sea. As I said, this is a natural, not a natural, a man-made canal, this part, and it was dug out by hand by Swedish prisoners of war. But the main canal that we're walking down to is a natural canal, and it splits the island in two. So at the moment we're on an island called Zealand, and this is where the Queen of Denmark lives, and I'll take you around to the royal palaces. As I said, I'm going to head down to the Little Mermaid statue and stop there. That's the plan. We'll see how things go, battery life and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, this is a really nice place to spend time, have lunch, have dinner, a few beers, obviously, it's Denmark. Very popular place. And then we have some colourful buildings. I know people are interested in architecture. Hi Baby Cakes, thanks for dropping in. I really wasn't sure if anybody I knew was going to drop in, so it's nice that people have. So this is the first live stream that I've done off Copenhagen. When I start my usual diamond painting gym videos, I always say welcome to Copenhagen, and I thought I'm actually going to go out and say welcome to Copenhagen in Copenhagen. So as I was saying, Hans Christian Andersen used to live here in a couple of different buildings. This is one of them. He used to live in this building here, and now they have made Hans Christian Andersen. Hi Jigsaw Diamonds, thanks for dropping in. So this is a Hans Christian Andersen souvenir shop. A lot of the toys and things are based on his stories. You can see the sort of famous silhouette of Hans Christian Andersen with his top hat on. So a lot of tourists come here and buy their Hans Christian Andersen souvenirs and books and all that stuff. So as I said, we've got about... Hi Mike, I never saw a comment. The way they're doing this, I can't see comments, they just pop up when you type. I don't have the window at the side. It just gives me a better idea of what I'm showing people, so it's sort of full screen for me. So the only comments I see are when people type them. So one bicycle out of 3 million plus. And my gimbal is going a bit wonky. This is the joys of doing live video. You're never sure what's going to go wrong if you do visit Copenhagen. Normally they are on bicycle lanes, dedicated bicycle lanes, but at this park they don't have them, so you have to be careful. A lot of people aren't used to so many cyclists. As I said, this is very, very early in the morning, so on a Sunday as well, so it's pretty quiet, but as the day goes on, well, the cyclists wake up. This is actually the first time I've seen this bridge raised, so we are actually going to go over here. So we'll have a look and see what it is that's coming through. The bridges in Copenhagen are very low, so they have them where they can open up to let the taller boats come through. So you can see that is the road, and as I said, it is the very first time I've actually seen the bridge up. It looks like they're actually doing maintenance on it, that's what it is. So yeah, that's what it is, they're doing maintenance. So we're heading down towards the main canal. As I was saying earlier, this canal is a dead end basically, and if you're going on a canal trip you get the place up at the top up here, and they take you for a 1 hour trip and tell you about Copenhagen. The gimbal is being really awkward. I haven't used this for a long time, so I charged it up last night in the hope that the sun was going to be shining, and it is. So in the summertime we start to get a lot of luxury yachts and things. During the winter time these boats aren't here. These ones are, this red and white one is here all year round, this small one as well, but all these sort of more modern boats, they come during the summertime. You get some very, very nice yachts if you're interested in yachts. I'm trying to remember, one time I was doing a live on an app called Periscope, and we saw like a mega yacht, a really, really impressive yacht. And we found out it belonged to, and I can't remember how to pronounce his name, Mark Cuban, some guy that owns a basketball team or football team or something in America. Somebody searched the name of the boat as I was doing the live, and they found out it belonged to him. So very, very rich guy, even though I had never heard of him. Yeah, Cuban, is it Cuban? Like, it's not Cuban, yeah, Cuban, that's, yeah, it was his boat, so the most impressive yacht I've ever seen. I had a small boat on the boat, and motorbikes and stuff, it was just crazy stuff, it was like James Bond stuff. But after saying that, these are quite nice. I'm sure they think they look really cool, but if they saw Mark Cuban's boat, they wouldn't be thinking they were that great, but they are nice. So we're coming down to the main canal. I'm not going to go this way. As I said, if people enjoy these videos, I will do more. There's a lot to see in Copenhagen. This is just a sort of quick view really of different bits. This is totally new, this building here. That used to be an area where they had street food. It was a really big place called Gefion, and they had all these places that sold street food from all different countries, like based in different countries. Really, really cool place. They knocked it all down, and they've built this luxury apartments. But they did move Gefion actually to a bigger site, which was kind of, we'll see, because it's on the other side of the canal. But as I said, I wasn't thinking about going over that direction. I'm going to head down to the royal palaces, where the Queen is, and I'll head down to the Little Mermaid statue, let you see that. So you can see bicycle lanes. So these aren't footpaths, these are for bicycles. And then we've got, just watch for the bikes. We've got this section here, this is the footpath. I'll take you up just to let you see this part of the canal, but as I said, I'm not going to go over. We are on Zealand at the moment, and if we cross this bridge, we're on an island called Ama. So it's actually a small island that's broken off from this one. The canal here is a natural canal, and it was a very important place way back when, because it was a natural shelter. If there was a storm at sea, ships would come in here to shelter and just basically park up in this canal and wait until the storm. Just try to reset this because I probably need to do an update in the gimbal. It keeps wandering. That might have fixed it, we'll see. I'm just going to check because I've never done a YouTube live using the gimbal, and I switched orientation there and then back again, and I got a message, like an error message. Am I still live, Nikki? Can you still hear me and see me? Well, not see me, but see Copenhagen. Just so I'm not walking along talking to myself thinking that everything's okay. The temperature just now, for you, it's freezing. I think today's high is going to be about 22, 23. Just now, I don't know, it's about 16 or something, 17. I'm wandering about in t-shirt and shorts though. This is like nice weather for me coming from Scotland. So this is the main canal. This is a natural canal that splits these islands, and we have numerous bridges, and they all open up to allow the taller boats to go through. And we have, this is pretty cool, that church spire that you can see in the distance, that is the Church for Our Saviour. And I don't know if you can make it out, but it looks like a sort of spiral that goes up. That's actually a staircase. So you can go and visit the church and go up the spire on the outside, and it takes you 275 feet above Copenhagen, and you can look out and look over the whole city because Copenhagen is flat. Again, somewhere I might go and do a live if people are interested. I'm really curious on feedback if people like this sort of thing, because it isn't diamond painting. But I did start at Nyhavn where I did a custom diamond painting, so it sort of ties in. I will be doing one going to visit, back again. I will be doing one going to visit the Hans Christian Andersen statue that I did a custom diamond painting of as well, but not today. So because the bridge is up and getting maintenance done on it, I'm going to have to walk all the way back up. Normally I would cut across that bridge to head down to Amalienborg, where the royal family live. And I think you'll be quite surprised how close you can get to the buildings. I definitely was when I came here and found out that the royal family lived in them. Just how close you can get. It's pretty impressive. I'm absolutely sure you cannot get that close to Buckingham Palace in England. So a few cyclists now. But it's something you definitely have to get used to, all the cyclists, because there have been accidents where people have been hit by cyclists. But you do see it a lot in the summertime when the tourists come, because they're just not aware of it. Some people walk down the bicycle lane thinking it's a footpath, and really irritates the cyclists. They ring their bells very loudly and normally swear at you in Danish. So is the video and the sound still okay? Is anybody out there? You can probably hear it, it's really windy now. Hopefully once I get into sort of buildings and stuff, it'll break it down, it won't be as bad. Thanks, baby cakes. It's always nice to know that it is working, because I have done live streams in the past where I've got no sound or I've got no video and nobody tells me, and then I get home and have a look back at it and find out that most of the video had no sound or something like that. So it's always nice to know it's working. So yeah, that was unexpected. Didn't expect the bridge to be up. I've never seen it raised before, because as I said, these boats tend to stay here all year round, so they don't have to open the bridge. And the canal boats are very low, they have to be, to go under the bridges. When you go on the canal trips, they tell you to remember to sit down all the time, don't stand up, because if you do stand up your head will hit the bridge, which wouldn't be nice. But sometimes the tourists forget. I have been on a tour where they actually had to stop the boat because the guy was trying to take a picture while he was standing up. They were coming up to a bridge, they asked him to sit down. I think they said it about 4 times. We're coming up to a bridge, please sit down. The guy was too busy taking his picture, wasn't listening. They actually had to stop the boat, put it in reverse before the guy got decapitated. But I'm sure the boat guys are used to that sort of thing. I'm sure it happens a lot. So if you go on a tour, the tour guide will speak Danish, English and German pretty much for sure, but depending on the guide they may also speak French, Italian, Spanish. It just depends who you get basically. And some tour guides on boats are definitely better than others. I have been on them where they've just not mentioned things we're passing. It's quite frustrating when I'm looking at things saying, why are you not talking about this? Why are you not talking about that? But I think a lot of, well, probably all of the tour guides, it's like a summer job. And some are new and they only know a few bits and pieces. Some put in a bit more effort to learn things than others. This is basically the picture I took. 10 years, baby cakes, 10 years passed in May. But this is the picture that I took about maybe 5 years ago. At that time the canal was frozen solid and the sea was frozen as well. It was a very, very cold winter. I took a picture of this and years later I got it converted. I tweaked it a bit with a software package to make it look like an oil painting. I wanted it to look old, and I did that, and then I contacted Mike at Smith Speeds and asked him if he could do it as a diamond painting, and he did. So I may actually do another video just showing you the Nyhavn costume. Hi Caroline, is it Caroline? Yeah. Thanks for dropping in. Message retracted. But yeah, this is the long way. I actually started just back there. What's the buildings? Yeah, these buildings are cafes and restaurants. I don't know when you came in, Nikki, but I was saying that this area used to be a very, very rough area, and try to get this gimbal to work properly, it keeps going squint. Yeah, it used to be a very rough area. This is where the sailors would come after months of being on a after months of being at sea. They would come back. The whole area around here is warehouses, old warehouses. Most of them have now been converted into luxury apartments or hotels. We'll see some of them as I go further down. But they would come here, they would come to Nyhavn, and they would get drunk, they would chase prostitutes. This was the red light district. and they would have fights and get tattoos and all that nice stuff that sailors did. So the people that lived in Copenhagen basically avoided this area because of that. But they eventually cleaned it up, and it's no longer the red light district, and it's probably the most photographed part of Copenhagen because people come to see these multicoloured buildings. Again, we're looking at them in the shade, so they aren't as bright as they will be. But I might come back another time. As I said, this is just some people have mentioned it, saying they would be interested in like seeing Copenhagen. So I thought, okay, I'm going to do it. So I got up this morning and the sun was shining, and I thought, right, this is a good day for it. Unfortunate, it is a bit windy, so it might be affecting the sound a bit, but once I get away into sort of off this road, because the wind is blowing directly at me just now, it shouldn't be as bad. So again, bicycles, you'll see them everywhere. Copenhagen has a network of bicycle lanes on most roads, apart from that one that I just walked along. And they even have traffic lights for bicycles as well. 3 AM, oh, you're up late. I can't see the time actually. I think it must be about 9 AM. I'll let you have a quick look up here. See, again, bicycles. This is nothing though. There are certain parts of the city where I can show you thousands of bikes. Again, it's something that I might do in the future if people are interested. It's really windy here. I just wanted to show you this hotel. The white hotel there is called d'Angleterre, and it is the most expensive hotel in Copenhagen. And the gimbal was playing up again. I really need to update the software on it. I haven't used it for probably about 3 years. 5 PM on Sunday in Australia. Why are you up, Nikki? I thought you liked your sleep. Right, I'll just have to grin and bear it. We've already got tourist trips. So you get like one tour guide and 40 people. How everybody can hear what they're saying, I don't know. So just letting you see the side that I walked up. There's a real diversity of architecture in Copenhagen. We have some very old stuff. There are still some medieval buildings left, but not many, because they had 2 great fires of Copenhagen which destroyed most of medieval Copenhagen. So we have small pockets of the really old buildings. Again, I'm not going to be that near them, so possibly in the future. It depends what people want to see. So this flag here is the Danish national flag. It's called the Dannebro. It is the oldest national flag in the world. And the Queen has a private yacht that is also called the Dannebro. Danes are very, very proud of being Danish. You'll see the Danish flag everywhere. If you go to the airport, when people come back from vacation, if their family are picking them up, they'll stand there, they'll be waving the Dannebro. You see a lot of people doing that. When it's somebody's birthday, they will put flags in the windows if you live in an apartment, maybe stick them to the door. If you live in a house, they'll stick them in the hedges and that sort of thing. Everybody knows when it's a birthday. And then inside the house or the apartment, they have flags all over the place. The table, they have little flags scattered on the table. They have a wooden flag. It's like a wooden stand with a flag on it, and they sit that at the birthday person's place. So it is very, very popular. You see it everywhere, on the boats as well. You get some unusual bikes as well. Cargo bike. Carry just about anything on these things. Testing the bridge, it's going back up again. It's just, I saw a guy working on the bottom of it, so I don't know if it's regular maintenance or if something was wrong. Needs oiled by the sound of it. So that is the underside of the bridge that I have never seen before, apart from when I went on the canal boats. I'm not sure what time the canal boats start. They totally stopped for a long time because of COVID. But everything's pretty much back to normal in Denmark now. We don't wear masks or anything like that. So we probably will see some as I go down the main canal, because if you go on the trips, the last thing you see is the Little Mermaid statue. That's as far as they go along the canal, and then they come back up here and drop people off. Definitely need to do a firmware update on this. So now we're going to head back down to the main canal. As I said, I would have crossed that bridge, but I had to go all the way back up and come back again. So this is the sort of bottom end. This is a bit quieter. Most people tend to go to the top end. But we still have the multicoloured buildings. And still got some restaurants as well, or cafes, sort of cafe restaurants. So a bit later in the day you'll see people sitting along the edges of the canal, usually drinking beer. Drinking beer is a popular pastime in Denmark. So I'm hoping when I go along the canal the wind is behind me. What made you decide to want to move there? A woman. I used to play, still sometimes play, but I used to play a game called World of Warcraft, an online game. And I met someone who joined our guild, knew her for 8 years I think, as a friend, and then we got talking more, and one thing led to another, and eventually I moved over here and we got married, so I've been here for 10 years. So this is Nyhavn 71, which is a hotel, but it used to be a warehouse, you can tell just by looking at it basically. It was one of the warehouses. All of the buildings down along the canal pretty much were warehouses at one time. None of them are warehouses now. They're either hotels or they're luxury apartments where people can look over the canal anytime they want. So we have canal boats. We sometimes call them taxis, canal taxis, but they're more like a bus. So we have boat stops. This is one coming up here. So what you do is you stand here, you wait on the boat, and depending on which direction it goes, if you wanted to go to the Opera House, which is that building across the canal there with the square sort of roof, that is Copenhagen Opera House. So I'll take you to let you have a look. But you walk out onto this floating podium, and the canal boat will come up here, the front drops down, you walk on, and if it's going down the way or going east, the next stop is the Opera House. So the quickest way to get to the Opera House from here is to get the boat. So we have a few boats that zigzag up and down. I'm sure we'll see them at some point. Just looking down the other way, but I can't see any at the moment, but we will see them. So what they do is they zigzag across the canal. It's a really easy way to get from one side to the other, to get from Zealand to Amar. Sorry about this fast flip thing. It's because the gimbal, once it starts going to the right, I can't get it to come back. So as I said, it hasn't been updated for at least 2 years, maybe 3. So I'm pretty sure that's what the problem is. But I don't want to stop now that I've started doing this. So hopefully future videos will be less sort of weird at times, the way the camera's going. This is just being built. As I was saying, this used to be, actually it was a place where they made paper. It was a paper mill, and then that closed down, and they used it for a thing they call refin, which is street foods. A lot of different types of food from all over the world. Very, very popular place. And then they knocked it all down because they wanted to build luxury apartments and make lots of money. So they knocked refin down, and they actually moved it to a new place which is just further down the canal on the same side, and it's bigger than it was. So at the end of the day, it actually worked out better because refin is a lot bigger than it was, and it's still beside the canal. You can get your food, sit and watch the boats go by. You do get boats, it's just it's early on a Sunday and people are just probably still sleeping or having breakfast, but once we get to about midday, it gets pretty busy. So that is Copenhagen Opera House. So the next thing we're going to come to will be the Royal Palaces, where the Royal Family live. Denmark has the oldest monarchy in the world, as well as the oldest national flag. So this is another hotel. Again, pretty obvious what it used to be. It used to be a warehouse. This is the Admiral Hotel. And this section here, this wasn't here when I moved to Denmark. This was part of the canal. But what they did was they actually built an underground car park in the canal. How they did it, I have no idea, but pretty cool. So now basically we have this large area, open area. They have different venues. I think at the moment they've got some sort of dance thing where it's like modern dance to music, like professional dancers, and they do that here on this. Yeah, that's true. I mean, yeah, I wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning normally. I don't set an alarm. Like weekends I'm up at 5. My wife isn't, so I thought I'll get up and I'll go and do a live. And as far as I know, she is diamond painting at the moment, so she's quite happy. The good thing about doing these early, especially on a Sunday, is it's quite quiet. It gets hectic. Hi Helen, good morning. How's Scotland? Is it as sunny as this? Really nice morning in Copenhagen. So more fancy yachts. We've got a sailboat. And then we've got the Admiral Hotel. to the Royal. It's not that far from here. Nice little wagon here. Have a look at some of these boats. You've missed a good life. Who did I miss? So as I said, in the winter time, these boats aren't here. This is pretty much empty. They come here and show off their cash in the summertime when it's nice and warm. Ah, you were saying to Helen. Okay, Nikki, check is in the post, thank you. I wouldn't mind one of these little boats. It's been a long time since I've done this. I used to do it a lot on an app called Periscope, where I would live stream. I did that for about 4.5 years. Countless hours of walking around Copenhagen, so I just thought, you know, I've done it all before and a lot of things that I've seen, and I know where things are. So for anybody who might be interested in coming to Copenhagen, it'll give you an idea what to expect. Or even if you're not coming to Copenhagen, at least you can see it. So we live not in the centre of Copenhagen, but sort of in the sort of outskirts of Copenhagen. It took me 16 minutes to get to the centre, so we're pretty close. We can pretty much come down here anytime we want, but we tend to spend our time diamond painting. So, the silhouette of the Opera House. And it's doing it again. Get ready. There we go. Okay, so now we're going to visit Amalienborg, which is the residence of the Royal Family. There are 4 buildings, and they each have their own building. The Queen lives in, I'll show you in a second. This is quite impressive actually, the first time you see it, apart from they've got some sort of construction thing. I decided to come and do this first, Helen. It was a nice morning, and I thought I'll just take a walk. I'm going to walk down to the Little Mermaid statue. I'm going to do Hans Christian Andersen another time, but this is us at the Royal Palaces. So the Queen's building is the one to the left with all the chimneys. The Queen of Denmark lives in there, and the dome that you can see is called the Marble Church. It's really nice inside. Again, I can go in and let you see the ceiling and stuff, but I'm not going to do that today. And saying it depends. If people comment in the comments after they've watched the video, and I get a decent amount of feedback want to see Copenhagen, definitely a sort of more things. It's really just a scenic thing. This normally isn't here, it sort of spoils the effect, but I suppose they have to do what they have to do. So we have a change of the Royal Guard. Yeah, I think it's the wind, it's really windy. Straight towards me. Is it the video's breaking up or the sound? I'll try and get out the wind. That didn't work. I'll turn my back. Let's do it again. The camera keeps tilting down at one side. The sound. Oh! The strap on my rucksack had went over the mic. Is that better? Oh no, I didn't go anywhere during the lockdown. I was trying to avoid Corona, so I stopped doing the walks and talks type thing. And then the Periscope app. Start again. The Periscope app closed down, so I haven't done any Copenhagen stuff. Yeah, it's the strap on my rucksack had flipped over and had landed over the mic, so that's what the problem was. That's a first. So this is where the Queen lives, in this building, and I can get this close. And I was here when she had, I can't remember what birthday it was, but I forget, 75th or something like that. And I was this close. Like, she came out on the balcony and she was waving to the crowd, and it was pretty cool. The Danes really like the royal family. They are very down to earth. Sometimes you'll see the prince coming through on a bicycle with his kids in the front and cycles into the palace, which is that one. The gimbal is not working today, but he lives in that one. And I've seen him cycle by, which is kind of weird, like no bodyguards or anything. The Crown Prince of Denmark cycling his bicycle with his kids in a box in the front, just like any other Dane, which is pretty cool. So we have the Royal Guards. See these guys, they look a bit like the Royal Guards in London, except they wear blue. They've got the bearskin helmets, and they do a change of the guard at midday every day, 365 days a year. So at midday there'll be a lot of tourists here. The relief guards will come down that street there, and they'll come here. They do basically a handover, and these guys are relieved to go for a break. So again, I'll at some point. The building here is a museum. You can go in that door in the small part there. If you go in there, you can go in and see the museum. It tells you all about these buildings. These weren't actually built as royal palaces. They belonged to some rich men. Hi Enya, I haven't seen you for a long time. How are you? Good morning. These belong to rich people, and what happened was the actual royal palace got burnt to the ground, and the royals took over these palaces. I think they bought them, or I think they gave them money, and they upranked their title, like from lord to sir or whatever. I don't know anything about that sort of stuff, but they made it worth their while, basically. So ever since then, the idea was the royal family was going to move in. They would stay here for a while. The palace would get rebuilt, and then they'd move back. It never happened. They moved here, and once they moved here, they stayed. So, and this is the marble church. It's called the marble church because originally when it was designed, they were going to build the whole thing of marble. Seemed like a grand plan, but they started to find out, just woken up, they found out how expensive marble was and they stopped building. So this basically sat as an empty building with no roof for years, a long time. And eventually they decided that they really should finish it. So instead of using marble, they just used the sort of normal stone, and they finished it. But it's still called the Marble Church. There is a lot of marble inside. It's all decorative and really fancy. The ceiling's really cool. You are allowed to go in there and video and take pictures and things, and it is free. But they encourage you not to talk, which is a good thing, because it is still, the gimbal is still playing up, it is still a church, so there are people in there who want peace and quiet to do what they're doing. So they just ask that you be quiet when you go in, but you are allowed to take video and pictures, and I have done it quite a few times when I did Periscope. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do when I get home is plug this thing in and do a firmware upgrade, because it's driving me nuts. So that's a quick view of the Royal Palaces, but you can see how close you can get. I mean, there's no way you could get this close to Buckingham Palace or anything in England. I mean, you can get really close to the guards as well, not too close though, but just, you can actually drive through here as well. Really surprising. But I'm sure I'm on multiple cameras. You have the little boxes. And the other thing is, if you look at every building has a flag. That means that the royals are not at home. And if I go around them, there's no flag. There's no flag. And the Queen has no flag. So that means that all of the royals are on vacation, probably in Spain, on the beach, drinking tequila. So I'm going to head back down, and hopefully the battery lasts long enough, because I'm using a wireless microphone which uses power from my phone. I can't remember how long I get from it, so if it suddenly dies, that's what happened, the battery went. But I'm hoping I can get most of it done. So the next thing that we're going to look at will be Muller Mærsk building. Muller Mærsk are the largest shipping company in the world, and they are a Danish company. So when we walk along the canal, we'll pass Muller Mærsk headquarters, and it's called the building with the blue eyes, because the glass in the windows is sort of mirrorized and it's blue. So they call it the building with the blue eyes. So this is us heading back. It does sound like a good idea, actually. I wonder if they get a royal discount. I timed that right, avoiding the tourists, even though I look like one. That's the good thing about doing this, because I blend in. The Danish people just see me and think, oh, another tourist. So I can walk about and use my gimbal and nobody really bats an eyelid. So the building in front of us with the smoke coming out of it and the slanted roof is actually an incinerator. They burn garbage there to produce electricity. It is extremely, extremely clean. It's a very modern building, and that is actually steam that's coming out, it's not smoke. There's no pollution from it. The slope is now an artificial ski slope. Built a ski there, so you can come to Copenhagen any time of the year and ski. And actually, the incinerator is so efficient that they weren't getting enough waste from Denmark to burn, or from Zealand, to run the thing at full efficiency. So they actually started importing rubbish from Germany to help make the thing more efficient. So, pretty cool thing. So again, we're looking at what used to be houses, and again they've been converted. These ones are apartments, which I'm sure cost a pretty penny. Your next door neighbour is the Queen of Denmark, and you are looking over the canal. Now up here, I don't know if you see it that well, directly in the middle of the picture there is a Danish warship. This is a retired warship. It's now a museum, but the story behind that ship is that I think it was, and I can't remember, it's been a long time since I did this, but I think it was the 1970s. That ship fired a missile on its own, and the missile landed on Zealand in an area that had what they call summer houses. A lot of Danes have got what they call a summer house. In the UK we have what they call a caravan, which is like a mobile home type thing, or a trailer I suppose you would call it in America, where they go in the summertime and spend a few weeks and get away from the house. In Denmark they've actually got another house. So they have these summer houses. They're normally by the beach or by a lake or in the countryside, that sort of thing. And people go away there at weekends and take a break. So the missile was launched from this ship, and it landed in an area of summer houses, and it did damage some, but it wasn't in the summer, so nobody was actually in them, so nobody was hurt. So that was lucky. But they obviously did an inquiry. What happened? How did we manage to fire a missile? Thought maybe it was an error by one of the sailors or something, and they found out it was a software thing. The ship just launched. Okay, Helen, have a good day. Thanks for dropping in. The missile was just launched. The ship just launched it. So they retired the ship, and it's now a museum. So these are apartments, but they used to be a warehouse. And then we've got this one here, again, used to be a warehouse, but it's now an art gallery. Now we've got another nice little boat here. I'm sure they wouldn't like it if they heard me calling it a little boat. So we're coming up to the Muller Mærsk building. As I said, we call it the building with the blue eyes. It's this white building coming up, and it is very, very windy. So this is the headquarters of Muller Mærsk, the largest shipping company in the world, who are Danish. That's one of the Canal, that little thing. They have just been the Little Mermaid statue, which is where hopefully we get before we run out of battery. So this is the building with the blue eyes, Muller Mærsk. Most people probably know it as Mærsk, and they've actually got a shipping container here with the pride colours. So this is Mærsk. And Mærsk headquarters. No matter what I do with this gimbal, it will not sit straight, it's at an angle. Not normally like that. That sort of thing in the very centre of the screen just now, that is actually something that was built specifically to put the sail posts on the old sail ships. That was all that was used for. It was specifically built to put the masts in the ships. Obviously no longer used, but part of history. So you can maybe see the warship now. I'm a little bit closer. And then you can see why they call it the building with the blue eyes if I move up. It's just because of the colour of the glass. And then further up here we've got another boat stop, like a bus stop. And in the far distance, the white thing you can see in the background in the middle is a very, very large cruise ship. They built a new cruise terminal a few years ago, and it's very deep water out there, so they can take the very big cruise ships. They have a smaller terminal at Langelinia, which takes sort of normal sized cruise ships, but the super cruise ships are so deep that that part of the canal was too shallow, so they went further out where the water is a lot deeper, and now the super ships can come in. So now we come to these funky little buildings, and I'll tell you what they are in a minute. You can get an idea how windy it is. The Mærsk flag is flying up there. So these two of them, and you can see this one at the front has a crown on it, so that is for the royals. And then you'll see the one behind it doesn't have a crown, and that is for guests. And the reason they are here is because the royal yacht called the Danish is normally harboured out there in the canal. And what happens is when the royal family want to go out on their yacht, they come down here, they wait inside this little building, someone contacts the sailors on the ship, they send out a little boat, it comes down here to these steps, whoever it is, the queen or the prince or whoever, comes out, goes down the steps, gets on the little boat, heads out, gets on the royal yacht. So that's what these little buildings are. And then the next thing, we'll have a quick look at this, I think, is some cannon, Danish cannon. This church here is called St. Albans Church. It's a very unique church in Denmark. It's based on an English design, and the outside it has quartz. It's the only building that I know of that has this design, and they built it to mimic an old English church. So the tourists are here. This is why I try and come early now. We're sort of getting into a bit later. The tourist buses start to appear and sort of ruin the view. But really nice church. Again, you can go inside and take pictures and stuff. Can't see anything for the tree. So this is St. Albans Church. If I go up to the wall, you'll be able to see the quartz. This is very, very smooth. Gives it a very unique appearance. It's the only church like this in Copenhagen. So I'm kind of conscious of the time now because I've been on over an hour, and as I said, the microphone draws power from the phone, so I think I might get cut off before I get to the Little Mermaid. So this is the Gefion Fountain. And she is Gefion. Gefion was, or is I suppose, a old Norse goddess. She was the goddess of love and fertility, and the statue is showing her with a whip, and she has 4 bulls, and she is riding a plough. So the story behind this is that the King of Sweden fell in love with her, and she asked for some land. She was also the goddess of seduction. She asked for some land from the King of Sweden, and he agreed, but he said, okay, you can have sunrise to sunset. So what she did was she changed her 4 sons into oxen and ploughed the land from sunrise to sunset, and when she was finished, the king gave her the land that she had ploughed. That land was lifted out of Sweden and dropped in the Öresund, which is the stretch of water between Denmark and Sweden, and that is how the island that we're on, called Zealand, came to be. So that is the mythology behind it. Allegedly, there is a lake in Sweden that is the same size and shape as Zealand. So that is the story behind that one. The gimbal is actually getting worse, I think. So that's the little royal huts that we passed, and now we're heading down towards the Little Mermaid. I hope I can make it. If I don't, I'll do it in another video. So as I said, this main canal is a natural canal. It's basically always been here ever since that island across there split away from this one. You can maybe see that white dot in the middle, that is one of the super cruise ships. And we have a nice little garden here, and we have the Sakura trees, which are cherry trees that were donated to Copenhagen by Japan to commemorate the 200th birthday of Hans Christian Andersen. The Japanese really enjoy the Hans Christian Andersen stories, so they sent 200 Sakura trees to Copenhagen, and a lot of them are in this area. There are a few I've actually walked past my left hand side, but in total there are 200 of them. And I think it's in May they have what they call a Sakura festival, and it's when all the cherry trees are in blossom. They put up a stage and they have Japanese music, Japanese dance, Japanese martial arts. They have little stalls that sell Japanese food, Japanese things like water bottles and all that sort of stuff. So a lot of people come here to see the Sakura festival. Looks really cool if you imagine all of this is pink. And we're getting close to the Little Mermaid, 72 minutes in. I need to keep on track of this so I know how long I can go before the battery dies. So if I said an hour, I would be safe. So we're in luck. We have an airport here. This must be the smallest airport in the world. It is on the map as an airport, and it's for the seaplane. The seaplane flies from Copenhagen to Aarhus on mainland Denmark, and it's actually in at the moment, which is quite unusual to actually see it sitting here parked. So you can get a flight from Copenhagen to Aarhus. I think it takes 45 minutes. And that is it, that's the airport. So no big queues at this one. No McDonald's either. So now we've got, on the left hand side, a normal size, and on the right, a super cruise ship. So the Little Mermaid statue is actually in the picture, but we're so far away you can't see it. They don't call it the Little Mermaid for nothing. It is not the largest statue you've ever seen. But any people you see here, this is why they came to see this statue. A bit later today, it's going to be very hard to even get close enough to see it. It gets very, very busy. The tourist buses come here and unload, and everybody comes here to get a picture of the Little Mermaid. Some people are brave enough to actually get a picture with the Little Mermaid. They jump across the rocks and actually sit beside her on a rock. I have seen people fall in because the rocks get covered in seaweed and it's very slippery. I've seen some people fall in trying to get across to get a picture. I hope they had waterproof phones. So this is as far as I wanted to go today. It's really just been a quick skim, to be honest. I never spent too long anywhere talking too much detail about anything. But as I said, if people are interested in seeing more, I'm quite happy to do them. I still have to visit Hans Christian Andersen. He's still talking to me, because I was planning to go there today, and then I thought about it and I thought, if I do a walk from Nyhavn down to the Little Mermaid, that's quite a nice walk, quite a few things to see. And it's taken me 75 minutes so far. So all of these people here have come to see the Little Mermaid statue, which is sitting on that rock. The statue was erected in 1913, and it has been vandalised quite a few times. She's been beheaded. The first time it happened, they never found the original head, so another one was made. That one was cut off again as a college prank. Some students did it for a joke, and they left the head outside the door of a police station, so it was reattached. So this is the Little Mermaid. The canal trips, they come down here. This is the last stop, and the thing about if you go on the canal trip, they come down here, they come around and they stop for a few seconds to let you take pictures, and all you're taking a picture of is the back of a statue and a crowd of people looking at you. If you really want to see the Little Mermaid, you really need to come down here and stand. As I said, if you're brave, you can try and jump the gap. People do it. Sit up on the rock and take a selfie. There has been talk about moving the statue further out into the canal to stop people trying to do that, because there are pretty big rocks there. Nobody has ever got seriously hurt so far, but it is possible you can smack your head off the rock on your way down, which wouldn't be good. The other thing is the vandalism. As Nikki mentioned, vandals. She has actually been vandalised a few times. She was actually blown up once. Somebody attached explosives to her and blew her up, blew her arm off, and the statue was blown into the canal. So they had to recover it and repair it again. It's also been sprayed or covered in red paint. That was, it's away again. Okay. The red paint was a protest against whale killing. Protesters came here early in the morning when nobody was here and covered her in red paint. She was also covered in blue paint. I forget what that one was about. But yeah, she's a pretty common target for that type of thing, which is a shame. I mean, people come here to see the statue. They travel from all over the world, especially from Japan. They are really, really interested in Hans Christian Andersen's stories, and in particular the Little Mermaid. And they come and they find that she's covered in paint or whatever. So they have spoke about putting her further out, so it's more difficult for people to vandalise. But then it means that people can't get decent pictures. I mean, you can see how close, without going into the water and try to climb in the rock. I mean, you can get very close to take a good picture, which is what everybody here is doing. It still is very quiet though. I think the tourists are still having brunch after being out all night last night in Copenhagen, but it gets really busy here. Get an idea how clean the canal is. You can see the bottom. Hasn't always been like that. Back in the olden days, everything was thrown into the canal. Raw sewage, paint, everything went in the canal. And they've been cleaning it up, and now we've got fish back. Well, more fish back. They're all time. Any fish in the canal, any bottom dwelling fish, don't eat them, because there is so much contamination in the bottom with maybe lead paint, that type of thing, chemicals, different things. They said don't any box on. But since I moved here, that's changed. Now they're saying it's okay. But that took a long, long time. They've been cleaning the canal up for years and years and years. Canal boat. Well, I managed to get the Little Mermaid, so now it's just like seeing how long the battery's going to last, because I've been live for nearly 81 minutes now. I just wanted to see if I could get back to the boats to let you see the super cruise ship. Well, we've got a warship in as well. That's the first time I've seen that. But that's the super cruise ship is in the background, and then here we've got a warship, which I've never seen before. Normally it's cruise ships that park here. This is the original cruise terminal, Langelinia. And then, as I said, they found that the canal wasn't deep enough for the super ships, so they built a new terminal. It's got four separate terminals, so they can have 4 super cruise ships in at one time. When they were building that terminal, they allowed people to fish from it. It's really deep water, and I used to go there a lot on Sunday mornings and fish, and I caught a lot of fish there. Best place to fish in Copenhagen. Then they finished the work and they closed the whole thing off, and it's all fenced and there's no fishing. So that was the end of that. So here we've got a little harbour, lots of harbours. As I said, we're on Zealand, it's an island. We've got harbours all around. This is just a small one where people keep their boats and go out at the weekends. They're nearly all sail, well, like yachts, like with the sails. They're not really motorboats. But I think that'll be it for today. I'll go back to the Little Mermaid, I think, and I'll just end it there. I'll go home and update this gimbal, give it a good slap. It's been pretty bad today. I hope it wasn't too annoying, this constant flicking. But as I said, I haven't updated the software for probably at least 3 years, so I'm pretty sure that's what the problem is. I should have thought about that, but I just decided last night that I was going to charge it up and come out and go for a walk. So hopefully I can get back to the Little Mermaid, and then we'll just stop it there. So there are quite a few other things to see. In fact, quite a lot of things when I think about it. And again, if people are interested, in I will be happy to do it. So we've got a little ice cream shop there. Sell hot dogs as well. Hot dogs are a huge thing in Denmark, but they're very different from American hot dogs. I mean, the weather comes into play as well. Obviously, it's better when the weather is like this. Nice and blue skies. It isn't always like this, but some in Copenhagen, usually the weather is pretty good. So. You're welcome, baby cakes. We'll see if we can get a bit closer to the Little Mermaid, and then we'll call it a day, I think. I can have some lunch. If I had been here at 6 o'clock this morning, there would have been nobody here.
Is it good enough here? Try to show more.
Probably better going over here. So that's it, the Little Mermaid. She's been sitting there since 1913. thanks for watching, dropping in. More people dropped in than I expected, to be honest. It's very early for a lot of people. So thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed it. And more videos to come. But next one's going to be back to diamond painting, back to the usual stuff. I have a lot of diamond paintings to do. I've now got 3 diamond art clubs waiting, 6 home craftology, 6 one day saving, and 2 or 3 from other companies that I haven't tried yet. So a lot to see if you're interested in diamond painting. And as I said, if you want to see more Copenhagen, please comment and let me know, and I'll do more. So that's it for today. Thanks for watching, and in the meantime, take care, be safe, and wash your hands.